Hi, Joseph Rodrigues here, and on this video, I'm doing something special, something that I've never done before, and I'm experimenting with it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to watch or listen to a podcast episode. I listen to a lot of different podcasts, and I always get a ton of insights, a ton of notes. What I decided to do is pick every now and then a podcast episode and then go and find 5 insights in that podcast episode that really stood out for me and then give my perspective on those 5 insights. So today I've got episode 116 of the I Love Marketing podcast with Dean Jackson and Joe Polish, which is a great podcast. I've been listening to it since episode 1, and I have implemented a lot of different things, and it's really helped my business. And this episode, like the other ones, is jam-packed with information, but we're going to talk about 5 points that stood out for me. Number 1, ideas are 10 for a penny. So this is interesting because I have a lot of friends who want to get started in business, and they always have these great ideas, and so it seems like to them. But the amount of ideas that I hear nowadays and the amount of action that I see being taken on actually implementing that stuff, because the reality is that once you go out and you implement something based on an idea, you'll find that it probably doesn't work, and you have to kind of tweak it or totally revamp it to make it work. So, it's not really that impressive to have a bunch of ideas in the world of business. It's really about action. It's about implementing those ideas, because just about everyone I know has great ideas, even those that are not entrepreneurs. So they talked about this in the episode, and it stood out for me because this is something that I've taken to heart. I used to be the kind of person that had a lot of ideas, and I used to go around telling people about the ideas, but I've kind of tweaked my ways now to just go and implement and then get feedback and customize. And a lot of times I'll implement things and I won't even tell anyone until it starts to work, or if it's like a drastic failure or something like that. So that's an important point. Number 2, engagement. So he had a guest on the show. Joe Polish had a guest. His name is Jeff Moore. I've never met him before, or I have never been introduced to him as far as found out what he was doing and whatnot. But he talked about marketing, and engagement is what he considers marketing. And I think that this is really important because what I got out of this episode is the affirmation about how, when you're out there creating content like this, for example, I'm creating a video and I'm just presenting the way I would normally talk if you were sitting in front of me. What that is doing is it's getting a dialogue started and going, and get a dialogue going between us. And one day, if you see me somewhere and you remember this episode, or you and just kind of follow my other material that I've released on my podcast and things like that, then you're probably going to come up to me and start a dialogue with me like you've known me. And this is really interesting because I've done this with people. I remember when I first met Eben Pagan. I met him at he had a little workshop after his wedding, and I attended the workshop. I actually met Joe Polish at the workshop, and it was great because I just went up to him and I started talking to him like I've known him for years, and I've been following his material for years. And I just every now and then I just think about that. How for years I was following his material. He's never met me, and I just felt so comfortable to just go up to him like I just talked to him on the phone last week or something. Like he's a friend I kind of connect with every day. So that's the power of marketing. And with our marketing, I want to put more emphasis with my own marketing. I want to put more emphasis on engaging my audience, and that stood out. Number 3, you don't have to be the best in the world. Just show up and be a little better than the next person. So this is great because a lot of times back in the days, I used to hold myself back because I would look at some of these, big marketers and big business people out there, and they would be doing all these amazing things, and I'd be like, wow, I can't even picture myself doing this stuff. If I come out with a piece of content or a product or a service or something like that, it's just not going to be up to par, in comparison to these like giants out there. And then I ended up realizing later on that, they all kind of started somewhere. And, at some point they had no followers, and they had no views on YouTube, or they had nobody buying their stuff. And the thing that made the biggest difference for them is that they showed up to play every single day. Just like, you're never going to win in sports if you don't show up to play, right? I mean, you have to show up to play. So I'm trying take that information and put it to heart and be consistent with the stuff that I'm doing. Just increase that consistency so that I'm showing up more often. And again, I don't have to be the best. I just have to be a 10% better. And I just want to add to that too, because I really have to be 10% better than the last piece of content that I created or the last product that I created. Because sometimes when we compete, we compare ourselves to others, it can be a little overwhelming. So if we compare ourselves to the version that we were before or what we did before, and we just kind of improve by increments, then that's really manageable and motivating. Because if you look at kind of where like the big players are in different business industries and kind of where they're at, it can be very overwhelming to even take the first step, because like you're so set on looking at that end result that you don't realize that it's the little insignificant steps. So this was a good one for me. Marketing is always a work in progress. I can't agree more with this. And if you are the kind of person that wants to perfect their marketing before you put it out there, chances are you're probably never going to get started. And I made this mistake before in the past. So now I'm just putting out stuff into the marketplace and more different marketing initiatives and things like that. And then I'm listening to the feedback from the audience so I can make changes and customize it accordingly. And it's always a work in progress. And I can't even imagine, getting to a point where it's the end. I think, I can see how this is so true. It's always a work in progress. And I think it's exciting. It's fun because, the more progress you make, the more business you generate. And, it's just really good stuff. Intellectual entertainment. This one really stood out for me because I used to find myself in this category back in the day. So intellectual entertainment is when you're attending a workshop or you buy a training program or something like that, and you enjoy it, you're getting entertainment value out of it, but you're not really taking action on the things that you learn. So, you kind of have to separate yourself sometimes from that category. In fact, you should be always separating yourselves from that category and recognizing if you're listening to information just for entertainment purposes, or you're going to actually take a bunch of notes and not only that, implement those notes. So that's a really important piece, because nowadays when I listen to a podcast or watch a training video or something like that, I make sure I have a pile of notes, and then I take those notes and put them into my Evernote, and then I sit down after the event or listening to the podcast, and I turn those notes into action items always. So intellectual entertainment. Do you look at this material that you're even watching right now, this video that you're watching right now, as just entertainment? Or are you going to take notes of everything that I said and implement it? Or better yet, go and download a copy of episode 116 of the I Love Marketing podcast and take your own notes. So that's it. That is my 5 takeaways from the episode 116 from the I Love Marketing podcast. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to release more of these, because I listen to a lot of different podcasts, and it's great because not only does it help me share the insights, but I also learn a lot better when I teach or when I talk about things, and this gives me an opportunity to do so. So thank you for watching.